Starting, and we are live. Hello and welcome. Welcome, everyone, and welcome, Betsy. I am Kathleen Kroner, author of the newly published Make Your Midlife Magic. And today I'm talking to writer, coach, and fellow Substacky Betsy Seybolt of the Midlife Mentor. Hi, Betsy. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Kathleen. Thanks so much for inviting me to join your live.
Thank you for being here. Betsy, tell us a little bit about yourself and your Substack publication that I really enjoy. How long have you been on Substack and how did you get here?
Let's see. I am a midlife mindset mentor. I've been on Substack for maybe I don't remember now. Somewhere in maybe coming up on 2 years. Um, I am a brand new empty nester. We dropped off our son at college on Friday. So it's a new beginning for all of us. And yeah, it's going to be different. It's going to be good.
Okay.
So my Substack is, I'd say it shifts every once in a while. I took a break from really being active this summer because I was kind of holding myself and my availability for our family and for our last summer together, not to be dramatic, but it's been different this year. And I'm writing a book which I have been sharing some parts of it in my Substack, and I'm hoping to include the Substack community to see if they can help me and see if we can workshop some things. So Substack is the greatest place. It's the only online place where I feel like I can be myself, which I've heard a lot of people say, but I'm one of those people.
Well, I'm happy to get to know you and grateful to get to know you. I want to acknowledge you for becoming an empty nester. There's got to be so much emotions and so many feelings and the start, the end of something, and then the start of a new beginning. That is wonderful.
It is.
Congratulations.
It is. It's what do they say? For everything, for every ending, there is a new beginning. And I've always liked beginnings. So as long as I think of it as a new beginning, it's positive. If I think about how sad I am that he's not here and he's not sharing his, days with us, then that'll make me sad. But we're texting, we're getting updates, he's giving good reports. So, so far, so good.
That's great.
How
And
about
it's
you,
so good.
Kathleen? Tell me a little bit about your Substack.
My Substack is called Easy Ways to Empower Yourself. And I have been here on Substack for about a year and a half. I started in January of 2025. And, I wanted to recover my creativity. And I just wanted to start writing at this stage in my life because that had been my dream to start doing what I wanted to do. And that's something that I found in common with you because after reading your Substack, I realized you started also writing later in midlife. You began your serious writing and now you're writing a book. So that just fascinated me because that was something that was very, very similar. There's a similar thread right there running through.
Yes, well, I mean, I spent a long time just kind of going through the motions. I spent many years going through the motions, and once I started getting more in touch with who I am now and what I want now, um, writing was a good outlet. I was also blogging when I became a new coach. I was writing blogs, and That's kind of how my book came to be. I thought I could just string together a few blogs and write a book. Well, it hasn't really turned out that way.
Hmm.
Um, I've rewritten my book, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, but it's all good.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more about your book. Tell me, I'm curious. What's do you have a title? How long have you been writing it? What's your
Well,
process?
my current title is Lost, Found, and Finally Claiming It. And that is a nod to the 3 modules that I have for coaching, which are um, awakening, becoming, and claiming it. And those are you can either work with me for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, or 12 weeks. Um, and to be honest, I wrote the book as a way for the reader to get to know me, and to see if there is a connection, to feel comfortable to reach out so we can work together. It's a bit of I think it's called a business card book, where I have written out a lot of what I believe and my story to so we can get acquainted. At least I can introduce myself.
That that is so interesting because I wrote the same kind of book, a business kind of like a business card book. Um, your book sounds like it's part memoir. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it tells you your experiences. Then it tells you about your process, which your coaching format and your framework and the steps that you go through, and then the transformation that your client, your reader can expect to have. So that is so I just found another thread that holds you and I in common
Neat.
together. Mhm. Mhm.
There's
So this
no that I mean I haven't been on Medium or some of the other programs that were earlier, but I've never been. I love how we can connect. And some of my favorite people on Substack are from Australia and New Zealand, and if it's the right time of day, we can almost instant message with our messages being half a world apart.
right. Right. The book cohort that I took that helped me write and publish my book, the teacher is Australian.
Nice.
Is from Australia.
Yep.
So wow. Okay, that's another thing that's in common. I'm amazed. I'm overwhelmed by so many coincidences. The writing later, and another one too is I also wasn't on Medium or anything else. I think I started blogging on Blogspot about maybe 5 years ago because I couldn't find my place. I couldn't find a space to write. I didn't know about Substack. I'd heard about it. I think I was intimidated the year before. And then finally, when the desire got so great to begin sharing my stories and kind of just expressing myself, I found my way here. And
Nice.
yeah, and I too did what you call the business card book, but I we called it an authority book where you're expressing and you're sharing your authority. So that's exciting. That's exciting.
And how are things going with your book? What are you doing to promote it and sell it? And is it available on Amazon and or Substack?
Yes, it is. It is. I don't quite have it on Substack yet. My book came out. I published in July, so about a month ago. I went ahead and my book came out live and I published it. And I've been writing posts about it and linking it. So it is available on Amazon, paperback and digital version. Uh, it's got about it's got about 6 or 7 5-star reviews on Amazon, so it's going well. It's going really strong, and I'm really grateful for that. did a lot to kind of market it. I told, the obvious, telling people, sending out emails, and posting. What I have done recently is that in my book, at the end of every chapter is an exercise, whether it's a writing prompt or it's an exercise for self reflection. So in the book, there wasn't really any space to do any writing. So I have just created, and I'll be uploading it this week. I just got my cover. I created a companion journal to go with my book, Making
Nice.
Midlife Magic. Yeah. And so the journal will be uploaded this week and it'll probably go live this weekend. So thank you for asking,
Oh,
Betsy.
you're welcome. Did you self-publish?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Yes. Yes, I
How was
did.
that process?
It was, there's a lot of words to describe that process of self-publishing. It was scary. A lot of my my demons came up and out. A lot of the voices that are in my head came up of, doubt, indecision, my self-sabotage. Um, a lot of my issues came up with a vengeance, and so I got past them. I went ahead and hit publish. I had a lot of support with the cohort that I belonged to, and we kind of cheered each other on. And of the 7 women, I think one of them had published before me about a week or two, actually 3 weeks, and so she was able to keep letting me know, keep going. So that was also, and then it got tricky because there were a couple things that I didn't do right with my formatting, so that was a little bit of a nightmare. And from transferring my document, I think I started in Pages on my computer with the writing, and then I went to Google Docs, and then I went into Readsy. And by the time I got into Readsy and I was ready to upload it, I had done it completely wrong. So I started over. But I had given myself the window of extra time. I had given myself kind of a big buffer of time, and that saved me. So I was able
Good.
to, yeah, I was able to publish by the end of the month, so of July. So I'm grateful for that.
That's very good. Well, congratulations. I have no idea what that will feel like, any of that,
You will soon, Betsy, because
but
you're
I
going to
will.
publish. You will. And speaking of writing, there's one of your articles really hit home with me. I really love the title. And it was a piece that you wrote called The Space Between Numbing and Becoming.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed that piece. And if you can you share a little bit about that piece and what it's about?
Um, I wrote it a while ago, but I am pretty sure that I was writing about um, how I basically had been using alcohol as a coping mechanism for years. And one day I woke up and with a horrible hangover and said, I cannot do this anymore. And so and that day was like the very beginning of the rest of my life, really, kind of, without being dramatic. But, that's when I opened up to the possibility of coaching, so that I connected with a childhood friend and she helped me find a program to get trained. Um, and I discovered a woman named Mel Robbins, who is just an incredible coach and a great speaker and authoress and woman. And so I took both my coaching course and a personal development course with her basically at the same time.
Hmm.
And started my business about a year later. So, but it was in that decision to say, um, I can't do this anymore. That I let's see, went back to school, changed careers, and started a business in about 18 months.
Amazing.
And there's no looking back.
That is amazing. And all this was after you stopped drinking,
Yes,
correct?
I'm pretty sure that that with each day that I woke up with a clear head,
Mm,
um, I was just able to see my future a whole lot more clearly.
mm. Thank you. I really appreciate hearing that. Thank you. I
And
also,
oh, go ahead.
I too got sober recently, a couple years ago. I stopped drinking. Um, similar to your story. But I didn't have the hangover. I just came home and I had wanted to write at night, much like your challenge that we'll talk about in a couple minutes. And it was another night of the, I couldn't write because I was had one glass of wine at night to unwind, quote quote, from my busy and stressful day. And that one glass of wine turned into a couple glasses of wine, and it progressed over the years. It became a regular occurrence, and anytime that I found a stressful situation or a happy situation,
Yep.
uh, chose to get a bottle of wine to celebrate, you know, or to drown my sorrows. So that was my partner in my pity parties at night, was that bottle. So once I was able to stop drinking and I made the choice, and my whole world opened up. It just opened up, and I began writing, and little by little, I came on Substack and wrote a book.
That's awesome. There's no coincidence that you wrote your book after doing that work.
Correct, correct. I I I I I'm just so grateful for that. So that's really it was really a good thing, and I hope to keep going and not drink at all because I don't have any desire to drink anymore. Now I just have the desire to keep going with my writing.
That's
So,
great. That's
mm,
awesome.
mm-hmm. So now that you're an empty nester, uh, tell me how are what is your future? What are you anticipating this fall, or do you have any plans for next?
I'm looking forward to doing more things with my husband, to kind of, I mean, we've now been married, what, 23 years. But now that it's really us, without the sports and just kind of the pull of having our son at home, I just want to do silly things like dancing lessons and going to more museums. And we had a great weekend out in Williamsburg. We love historic houses and history, and so we had a great time. Right after we dropped him off, we thought we'd make a transition and just
Mhm.
spend the weekend having fun. And so that's what we did. And I want more fun weekends like that.
That sounds so great. That sounds like a really so like a wonderful switch. I too love history. So the fact that you're in Virginia is amazing, that you've got all these historical places and spaces that are around, and you've got that access to all that, and then the ability too to say with your husband, to make that choice and say, hey, let's just look around or go here or explore. And
Exactly. I
yeah.
think we'll be able to do things more spontaneously than in the last 19 years.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. And I'm also grateful to hear too that you're coaching, and that your whole process. How was it when you went to coaching school? Because I know that you went back later in later life. What was your experience like that with your coaching program that you took?
Well, reading textbooks and taking tests was, a bit of a shock. It wasn't anything I had done in a fairly long time, other than, those quizzes you take on Facebook for whatever. But just it was, I think, when I know that I am doing something for a reason and I have a goal, it's a lot easier. I think
Mhm.
when I was in school, when I was younger, I was just doing things because I had to, whereas now I was getting this training because I wanted to. And I
Mm.
knew what I wanted to do with it. Coaching is, it's something I've kind of done with my friends and family anyway. And so switching it around and creating more of a business has been, just a great extension of what I love to do.
That's so great to hear that because it again it circles back to the fact that you're living your dream now. You're able to
Right.
do your writing in midlife, and you've made those choices. When you say that I instead of I have to, earlier you just said with that sense, when you were younger, those things that you had to do, and now it's making that choice of the things that you get to do
Exactly.
and doing them and having that freedom and that ability to do them because of sobriety.
Yes, I mean, well, just because of for just yes, I basically yes, yes, I'm just thrilled to have a life I love.
Oh, I love hearing that. Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Betsy, what would you say to someone in midlife, someone that's watching, or someone that you know, or someone maybe that you're coaching that wants to write and wants to make these changes in her midlife? What would you say to her?
Uh, don't wait for things to be perfect. Just do it messy. Do it. Eh, whether you feel like you know what you're doing or not. Reach out to people who can help you. I have, um, I have an amazingly talented community, people in our community who have retired here, who have helped me. I've reached out to people on Substack. I've reached out to childhood friends. Don't feel like you have to do it alone, and don't feel like, it's never too late. Don't ever feel like, you're too late. There are plenty of people out there who have found their way at 60, 70, 80, and, or, 50. I know some people are, found their new lives when they were even younger than I was. But yes, um, go for it.
Mm.
Don't wait.
Thank That is so good to hear because there's so many of us that do that. We wait because we think we have to wait until the conditions are perfect, until maybe a child, leaves to school and we have that right time to start writing or living our dream no matter what it is. So I loved hearing that to just go ahead and do it and to do it imperfectly. That's so important. And then the next thing is, one of the last things I want to talk about is making those connections through Substack and going online because I know that you've done lives and you do them on a regular basis. You reach out and you make connections with people, and now you're doing that with me. So that's another thing that's great about it because we can connect and we can come here and tell our stories. So I just wanted to say thank you for that because that's the way that we can move forward and heal and get that support to keep writing and to make those changes.
For
So
sure. Yes. Well, I'm happy to join you, and I would just want to ask you: is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to cover before we go?
I think we covered everything. I love that piece that we talked about. We talked about the creativity and I think one of the most important things that I was able to really connect with you is this the right stop drinking the sobriety. So that's really an important thing that we have in common. Last thing I want to ask you before we do go is I love the idea of your August challenge that you put up on your Substack for yourself, and that challenge is it's a healthy one. It's to walk and to write. 20 minutes after dinner. So I've always had that like inner challenge. And when I read yours, I thought to myself, I love this idea because I keep wanting to do this a lot. And maybe sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. How about you? How's it going for you this August?
Well, that challenge did not last long.
Mm.
Um, it turned into my decision that August was going to be a time of seeking joy and pleasure. I spend a lot of time, I like to always have a goal. So I'm either doing some kind of challenge or some kind of goal. And I decided that, in some countries, people go away into, Italy or France, or I don't know the other countries that do this, but the goal is to just do nothing and enjoy life and enjoy, um, just relax.
Mm.
So August became my month to relax and enjoy and seek joy and pleasure. And most days I have been able to do something that has brought me joy and pleasure, whether it's, reading a cute book or watching a cute movie or swimming or walking or being with friends and family. So my the goal that I changed into has turned out quite well. Are you working on anything now?
I am just finishing my book upload, but I think that that's the perfect thing that I needed to hear today is just here's you mentioned joy and pleasure because that's what I really that's what life's about. Really, that's what we're here to do is just to experience joy, and because I chase things and I'm also like you where I like getting things done and having a list and projects, but this is August. So on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and really focus on that this week. What you just finished telling me, and that's how I think I want to end this today. Is our talk is just to for anybody listening and for myself as well. Is just to focus on the joy and the pleasure of the rest of this month and this magical end of summer. So thank you so much for connecting with me, Betsy, and coming
Thank
on
you
a
for inviting me, Kathleen.
I appreciate you and I wish you a wonderful rest of your month and finding joy.
Thank you. It was
All right.
wonderful.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.